There you go. Awesome. Perfect. So, Joanna, how are you today?
I'm great. I'm very excited about this.
Yeah.
So, about your message show. This is my first time, so I'm super excited. How are you?
That's so cool. I'm doing good as well. Thank you so much for asking. I mean, what better way to have a great day that to be talking with someone so awesome as you? So, things good.
Thank you so much.
Now, before we start, I have to give you an epic welcome to the show. So, sure.
Okay.
Super awesome. I know.
I wasn't expecting that.
That's so cool. Now, started with a whole interview here. Tell me how your passion for acting started.
I mean, it's gonna sound a little bit cliche, but it started very young as well, as most people usually start. It was interesting because I never did really related to arts growing up, because a more conservative type of household. So the plan would be to go more into like medical or law or something related to that rather than arts, which I can imagine being very relatable to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, being from Portugal, a smaller country, you want to make you have a profession that's going to provide for you, which was my thought. So it was always something that I loved. Whenever there was like little parties, I would want to present the parties, or I would read a lot of plays, you know, watch a lot. But then it was when it was the ultimate point, like, okay, from now on, either I go to law school or I just say, okay, I don't know how I'm gonna do this, but I'm gonna find a way. I want to go to London. I want to do what I have to do to make this come true. I'm gonna learn, even if I have to do it by myself, because I want to audition. And so at that moment, I thought, I mean, if thank God it never happened, but even if I have to be homeless for 6 months, I have to do it. I owe myself this. I cannot spend the rest of my life studying and working for something that I don't. You know, I already it was so repressing enough that throughout those whole years I couldn't say that I want to be an actress. So at that moment I was like, yes, I love it. That's what I'm gonna do. So it was always like a quiet passion inside of me that in my head loud. It's just to the world. It never happened until I was six.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, starting with your career on theater, so you were in Macbeth, and you played as Macbeth. So tell me, what did you enjoy the most about your character?
It was really because it was an ensemble type of character. So instead of being one Macbeth, we had actually five or four different Macbeths. So it was incredible teamwork that we had to do. So each person would have so in our text work, we would each find different things to our Macbeth. No, so instead of being like, oh yeah, my Macbeth was special because of this or because of that, no, I felt like it was a huge, magnificent Macbeth, because instead of having one person, you had 5 people all giving into it, you know?
Wow. Now, how you usually prepare a character?
Well, text work, I absolutely love text work. You know, I love the feeling of getting a script and you read it the first time, and for me at least, this is works the best, is I try not to put any voice in my head straight away, like starting to read it in a certain way, because I feel that really influences the way you're going to perform lately. You already have that preconception of what you think it is before you even actually digged into it, you know?
Yeah.
So what I love to do is I get a new script, I read it through a few times, get really familiar with the words, and then I just start questioning just almost everything. Okay, so we have an exclamation point here. Why? Why instead of a comma, you know? Or what's the backstory to this? Who am I? Where was I born? So just asking a lot of questions, because specificity for me and it's just in general, I think it's the most important thing, you know. For example, if you go to a rehearsal and someone asks you something like, okay, yeah, so right now you said that you feel this way, but why? And it's the worst feeling that you don't know how to explain why. But it's like, right now I'm talking to you and I know exactly what I'm saying and why I'm saying it, and how I want it to influence you, or how that makes me feel. So why would I not do that in regards to my work? Why would I just say things for the sake of saying them? So for me, that's the most important. I love it. And then getting it in your body. So walking around the house, making sure you don't do it half out, like full out, full out. Have it in your voice, in your body. So I think those are really important things to incorporate when approaching a new character.
Okay. And then you were in Timbalt's Last Journey, Les Last Purdue, The Tempest, Ivanov, The Seagull. So tell me about those plays, and what are some of the highlight moments that you have during those plays?
Oh, so Sinbad's Last Journey and Le Pas Perdu, I did them in Portugal. And then Ivanov and The Seagull, it was in New York, actually. The first two were my first plays ever. Professionally, that I was getting paid to do them. And then the last one, the New York ones, was New York in the New York State. A dream come true.
Yeah, totally.
The highlights of that was, allowing the work and the words to transform me. So I would do the work for months and months, but then when I got on the stage, I kept my intentions. I kept the drive of what I want to. Why am I telling this story? Who am I telling to? Why is it so important? But most of all, I felt that at some point you feel that the text changes you, and that's, for me, it's the one of my old teachers used to say, change the molecules in the room. And it feels, you get to the end of it and you're like, wow, I don't know if it's positive, it's negative, I just and all of them for very different reasons. They were very different plays, so but I think that's the common thing about all of those.
Okay. And what would you say it's an important aspect for a play to be a successful one?
For a play to be a successful one? Okay, so definitely, why are you telling the story? Why? You need to have a reason. You need to have an intention behind it. And who do you want to reach? But I think most of all is make it important. So make it almost like a life and death type of situation. Because when you go to the theater and you go to the movies, everything that you usually see, and this is also knowledge that was given to me by previous teachers that I completely agree with, is that nothing extraordinary happens on a mediocre day,
Yeah, totally.
So make it life or death, like importance has to be at the top. And if you have that, if you have a reason, if you have a reason why you want to tell people, how you want to impact them, if you have all of that, I think already like 3 great foundations on how to make a play very successful.
Okay. And what do you usually do before going on stage?
So it depends on how much time I have, actually. But if I'm lucky and if I get to have all the time that I need, I would start with some floor work. So I'll lay on the ground and do some breathing techniques, make that all of like my body parts are awake. Of course, I'm not dead, but I mean, there's
I know what you're doing.
Going, like I'm not feeling sleepy or lazy. So in a way, almost like massaging, start making sounds, like humming sounds, and then getting my way back up, and then just going through the face muscles. I think it's very important. Make sure your face is relaxed. There's a lot of tension there. Relax, and then voice, tongue twisters, a lot of speech. Especially for me, for example, I'm Portuguese, so I have a bit of a thicker accent than an English speaker. What have, you know. So, and to make sure that people can understand, this is something that's very important, that I really go through all of my speech section.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, body, voice, and then speech.
Okay.
These sections.
Okay. Now, from all of your performances on theater, what are some of the characters that you enjoy the most playing?
Okay. Well, the one that I think, the one that I most, it's really hard. It's really hard. But the one that I played in Sinbad's Last Journey,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have any lines, but it was an incredibly hard play for me, because it was a boat. The setting was a boat, and I was the only woman on board.
Okay.
And this was a refugee boat, and I was playing a Muslim woman who's pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And that type of setting, I wasn't exactly seen in the best way, so I had to be silent all the time, even though I was pregnant, even though we were in an extremely stressful trip, you know.
Yeah.
And then at some point I have the baby on board, the baby dies, I have to throw it out of the sea, on the sea. So even though I didn't have to say anything, I only cried and shouted at some point. It was it was one of the most important plays for me at this moment. It was one of my important roles.
Yeah.
To people come after the shows and give me a hug or cry, or saying that they've watched the play twice, or to say that they've been through the same thing. And in that moment you feel so unprepared to say whatever, you know. You're just like, I'm just an actress. And you told me this extremely vulnerable part of your life. I can do nothing but give you a hug and thank you, you know. So to have that night after night, and it was really intense. It was really intense. So I mean, all of the parts are able to play. I learned something new with all of them, but this one especially, not having any words, but at the same time saying so much and feeling so much from everyone around me, you know, the actors giving me energy and looks, and it was very intense and very amazing. These are very poor adjectives to describe it, but
Wow. If you could describe your career at the moment on a play, what would be the title of it?
Oh, I don't know. I feel what? I feel like I would like to be like the hopping, and then insert something. I'm just not exactly sure the hopping would be, because I feel that's what I do in my life. I just hop around. You know, I move country to country, just going after, of course, my dreams, my work, working around, and I just feel like this is my life is just spent hopping around a lot. So the hopping, I'm just liking a word. If you have any suggestions,
or we can leave it as the hopping.
Okay, the hopping something. I'll think about it.
Yeah. Then, if at some point you are making a play, you already have the title here, so you will have to go back and be like, oh yeah, happened here. But
I'll give you credit because you're the one that.
Thank you. Sounds like a plan. Perfect. Now, any advice that you could give to people who recently started doing theater?
Yes, of course. As much as it is a beautiful career, and as something beautiful, you read about it, and you get to be so vulnerable and emotional, don't romanticize it too much. At the end of the day, it's still a business, it's still a career, just like you're going to medical school, like being a lawyer, being a businesswoman. And I think that's one of the reasons why sometimes people spend so many years struggling and feeling very lost in this industry. It's because especially in movies, we have this romantic idea that, okay, I wish I want to be an actress more than anything in the world. And then I go to an audition and I got it, and all of a sudden I'm famous, and forever, you know, or
Yeah.
I'm around and or I'm an extra. This is my favorite. I'm doing supporting artist work, and then all of a sudden someone noticed me that I have a lot of talent, and then okay, I'm not saying that these things can't happen,
Yeah.
but that's just not the reality of it.
Mm.
So what I would advise you is read a lot, read a lot of plays, watch movies, learn your film history, your theater history.
Yeah.
All important, just in like any other job, just know your stuff. If you can afford and if you have the time, of course, training. Don't go just for any workshop that charges like £2,000 for a weekend or something like that. Of course, be smart with your money because these things do cost money. But look for oh, I'm missing the word, for teachers, you know, that have some reputation, that made either like comments or through friends or through someone, you know, to have some type of reference. Don't just go for something that's on Instagram and you don't know anything about it, but everyone liked it, so I'm gonna go for it. No. So education, reading a lot, I mean, just, you know, I think those are the most important things that I would advise. Treat it as any other career. So don't make it, which long term is going to make it hard for yourself, because then you're going to feel very lost. Have some business classes, you know, how acting as a business, very important. So yeah, just power. So that's what I advise. Make sure you learn and you to find out and do, and yeah.
Cool. Now let's talk about your career in film. So in 2017 you were in Iris short film. So tell me about that one.
Oh, that was wonderful. It was such a beautiful production. The director and producer of that film is one of my best friends, and I felt honored to invite me to be part of his film.
Yeah.
Sets were beautiful. Like, it was absolutely stunning. It was probably the best in terms of filming and setting. It was the best short film I've ever seen. Really, amazing. And we had a big cast of quite like in Portugal. Pleasure to work with really well-known actors I've known from when I was little in the theater or in TV. I played so my character, I was Miss Coimbra, which is a part of Portugal, and so it was a pageant contest. But the story, it's not about just the pageant; it's about the main character. Her name is Iris. But I was one of the contests, and I'm very you know, I'm just living my best life. I think all of that is wonderful. Everything people tell me not to do, I do. There's a shot in the movie where the ladies specifically say, hey, whatever you do, just don't end with, and what I want the most is peace on earth or something like that. And that's exactly what I'm gonna do, because I'm just so happy, you know. I feel at the top of the world. And so it was a very, very fun character to play. It was just a very fun project to be a part of.
That's amazing. Now, in 2020, you were in Paperback Man. So tell me also about that film and about your character.
Yeah. So Paperback Man, once again, a movie. This time, a movie that doesn't have any lines. And so Paperback Man, basically a man that has a little paper bag on top of his head, and he navigates the world like that. I was not Paperback Man. I was one of the characters. They didn't really have a name, so basically he would be exploring the world, and our scene was very interesting because we were exactly the opposite of him. So while we have this very innocent, pure soul walking around, loving the daisies, the butterflies, dancing around fire, and we see him, we start chasing him, for some reason we end up kicking him, and just really making him feel very out of place. I mean, it was such a great part. It was great to be part of the project. I felt absolutely heartbroken to fake kick him, of course, because he looked adorable, and I had to. The director said action every time. I'm just like, I'm so sorry. Feels so cruel, but anyway, it was just an interesting more of a release of anger and exploring the, you know, about everything that's different and pure. People have the tendency to shut it down, you know. So that was the basis around my character and other characters. So it was more of everything revolved around Paperback Man, and then we had people like me that just couldn't really deal with that.
Okay. Now, what could be some of the challenges when you switch from doing theater to a movie set?
Voice. You cannot forget that when you're on stage, your projection needs to be completely different than when you have
totally.
Which is something that I completely forgot the first few times that I started doing film, because for example, I remember one time I was doing a scene and we were just rehearsing it, and I don't know, I didn't shout it. I didn't feel like I shouted, but all of a sudden I just see the actress me going like this, and then the director stopped, just like, okay, maybe a little bit less, and just on the volume, because oh my god. That's I know, but I mean, it's silly, but for me it was an adaptation because I had this theater. And then you're like, okay, you still have to keep, of course, all the intensity. You don't whisper, you don't make your voice like super breathy, you know. You still needs to be a good, a solid resonant voice, but yeah, just adapting that. And also learning how to maintain my intention. Why am I telling you this? But even if you're not in front of me. So for example, in theater, life is made easier for me, at least I think, because I have the pleasure of, if I'm doing a scene with someone, he's right in front of me or she's right in front of me. In movies, in cinema, sometimes it's not like that, you know. Sometimes I'm talking and there's no one there because on that shot, in that particular shot, they don't need that person, so it's probably that person's day off, and I'm there making a whole emotional scene, and I just have to pretend that they're there, you know. So sometimes it's just adapting. It's just adapting to those little tricks of sometimes you can't always be staring in the eyes, you know, or you won't really have like beautiful dragons in front of you. Just have like a little tennis ball or something. So yeah, it's just really using your imagination, making sure that you did all of your text work, so that by the time you're saying it, you're just saying it. You just imagine it there, and it just making sure that the lack of a person there or of a being, it doesn't become stronger than your acting, you know. Instead, oh my god, I really have to imagine. I'm not imagining it properly. What is it? Where is it? Just get so overwhelmed by the fact that there isn't enough, then you forget all the work that you did previously. So yeah, I think those were my main challenges, just human contact, eye contact, and voice.
Yeah. Wow. Now, this year, tell me about your most recent role in the MTC web series. You play as India, so tell me about it.
Oh, it was wonderful. So this is a web series. It's not out yet, but it's about a tech company, and I'm one of the people recruited to go to the company. So I am not the most talented at the job, but it was such a hilarious character to play. Talk about like character development and just an arch overall. Like I started at one point when you think like this character is pretty linear, and that's when you have to stop yourself. It's like, no, she isn't. No, you aren't. You're not linear, because right now you're here, you're there, you're there, you're there.
Yeah.
You know, just like any human being, and just like you just open the box, and you're like, whoa. It's like opening the oven. In the beginning, it's fine, and then all of a sudden you get this way. Like, okay, um, so it was wonderful because I got to really play with it. Writing was absolutely fantastic. Some of the best I've I've got the pleasure of act on recently. Exactly. So yeah, it was really it was fantastic. Just I think the most exciting about a character, if you get the privilege to be able to work with that for a while, you really get to see the development and the highlight little surprises that you would think of. The first time I read about me, or in this case India, I would have never thought that she would be saying this at the end, wow, or that she would be confronting this, or that she would, you know, create this idea, and then you, yeah, I mean, I'm going on and on and on about it. I feel like I'm adding much to it at this point. I really loved it, and there's so much to play with and explore. So yeah, and beautiful writing.
Wow. Now, tell me, where does this motivation come from? I mean, from being in the Stellenman College Performing Arts to Soho City Academy to be in Guildhall School of Music and Drama to be in New York Film Academy. I mean, all of these things. But tell me, what keeps you what keeps you going to, and to also keeps you keep like building your acting career? I mean, like, what drives you? What's your motivation? Yeah.
My motivation, I mean, it's not always a constant thing, especially now, of course, due to the pandemic. Work has been unstable. It's not, and if it was already, even before the pandemic, mostly area to work on. So now it's even more so. I think my motivation sometimes, it used to come in waves, and for me, the challenge was to make it consistent. And of course, even me saying it's going to be consistent, it doesn't mean that every single day I'm going to be like, okay, woke up, vocal work, body work.
Yeah.
Yes, apply for. Oh, I'm on a roll. I mean, some days are like that. You know, I love to have a little whiteboard, write down my things, because it really helps my brain to be like, I have to do this and this and this. That serves as a motivation, because otherwise, if I don't see it written, I'll go maybe a few days without doing it, and I'll start that type of speech of, oh, I haven't done anything for my career, I don't have auditions, I'm not doing anything, I'm becoming lazy, and, you know, career, that's just not helpful. So for me, it's just, don't be too hard on yourself, of course, but keep yourself accountable. I need to have set goals. That really motivates me, you know, even if it's like little ones. Okay, I contact this agent, I want to do my headshots, I want to really work on this monologue, because maybe recently I haven't had that many auditions. So okay, if I have that many auditions, what a better time to work on my actual craft, you know. Let me work on some Chekhov or some Shakespeare, some contemporary stuff. You know, it's just, I find activity in general, but it's just really being, I just need to also be aware of, as much as you love to be active all the time, unfortunately at the moment I'm not working all the time. So how do I deal with this, you know? Okay, whiteboard and stuff is written. Every time I do, I get to tick it, which brings me great satisfaction too. But, so I think that's just how I motivate myself. It has changed throughout the years. It may be before it was the idea of moving here or moving there. Now I think you always have an end goal of being extremely successful and doing projects that you love and tell stories that you love. But at this moment, I think it's just going through the days, like day by day, and you just have your checklist and you do the most you can.
Yeah.
That's how I keep myself motivated. I keep myself accountable.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I mean, Joana, what can I say about your career? I mean, your career is amazing here. Now, the fact that we finished the questions, I need to give you an epic shout out. So,
Thank you so much.
And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think that if someone is going to reach for a lot of amazing things in the future, for sure it's you. The fact that you bring a lot of passion to it, but also that you have moved to a lot of different places here and there just to keep building it and to keep pursuing your career. I think that is super inspiring, and that is something that we need right now, especially during this crazy time recently. So keep doing that, keep being that amazing person here, keep working hard, because as I said, if someone is going to reach for amazing stuff in the future, for sure it's you. And it's going to be at some point that whenever somebody, like for example, if they will tell me like what I think about your career, I mean, your career is badass here. So keep working on that, just keep building it, because you are doing amazingly. Also, thank you so much for those who tune in. If you're listening this later on the podcast or watching this later on the YouTube video, make sure that you're following Joana in a lot of social media. Normally, what I would say is to put pause, hydrate, and then follow Joana. Leave a lot of likes here and there, and then come back for the end of the video. And I mean, again, Joana, thank you so much. As I said, you are an incredible, talented actress, and you're definitely going to reach amazing things in the future.
And I would just also like to add, I think your project or what you do is also absolutely amazing. I went through your page before, of course, when you contacted me, and I thought it was absolutely extraordinary that you have the curiosity and the want to talk to so many amazing different actresses and human beings, and I was like, wow, this is an amazing project, and what a way to make us and feel special to be able to talk a little bit about our history, and so I think what you're doing is also really, really amazing, and I think it has a bigger impact in I'll talk about myself in our days, as in like actresses or me. I don't want to talk about everyone else, but then you would expect. It has a bigger impact than you expect. It's actually like a highlight,
Yeah,
so,
totally.
really amazing, honestly. Great project that you have going on here, so I wish you the best too.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, at the end of the day, if this project is working, is for talented people as you that give me the time in order to make this happen. And also, I think that actors are the living proof that dreams come true. I mean, you guys go to a lot of heavy stuff here and there, a lot of rejections, a lot of moments in which you don't know what to do. Actually, you don't know what to do with your life anymore. And I mean, the fact that you are taking that aside and you just keep following and keep building your dreams and passion, I think that's very inspiring. So at the end of the day, if this project is working, it's for, as I said, for all of these amazing people like you, of course, who have given the time to make this happen. Now, before I send you off, I need to send you off in an epic way. So.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Keep having an amazing rest of the evening for you, and I'll see you in the next one then.
Thank you so much. You too.
Bye.
For having me.
Thank you.